Okay, so now we're going to do part 2 since I was rudely interrupted by a customer. Darn them. So, anyway, I'm going to have to make a gasket for the bag. I have placed it back in the machine. And, I mean, that's pretty much how vacuums are today. You have a latch that holds the front cover on, that keeps the bag in. I wanted to go to this little plaque here. The serial number says 525, and it's number 04200, 110 volts at 60 cycles. I know it's terrible, but it's a phone camera, so bear with me. Anyhow, I'm just going to set this over here for a moment so I can get this latched back up. I mean, it's pretty bone simple. Just latch everything down. And back then, there were no latches or anything to hold in the hose. You basically plugged it in and you kind of twisted it, and it held by friction. And then you could put whatever cleaning attachments you wanted to on the other end of the hose. I cannot tell you how neat this is. I don't know if you can see me, but maybe now. I don't think I've ever had a vacuum this old. That's not true. I had an upright. I had an old Apex that was this old, but never a canister. I mean, the oldest Electrolux I had ever seen prior to this was the Model 30, which was from the late 1930s, and, you know, those are pretty much a dime a dozen. Still. So, I'm going to bring you over here. We have a lot of attachments in this box that came with the machine, and I'm just going to kind of... So, before we do that, here's all the extra stuff that came in this absolutely tattered box. It was not an Electrolux box. I looked for markings. But this here was the first coiled hose that came with the Electroluxes here. Now, it does fit into the canister properly. I did, however, notice that the other ends do not fit well into these curved wands. There's actually a lot of space there. So I don't know if these actually came later and with as they improved the machine, because they fit perfectly onto the woven hose. And of course, there's 2 extra straight wands. And then there's this. I don't know exactly. This looks like a 1950s replacement hose that the guy who had this put 2 Electrolux ends on. It does not look standard Electrolux to me at all. I mean, it could have very well been from a later model, but I seem to remember having an old Rexair vacuum cleaner that had this hose on it. So I'm thinking that that's the second. But so anyway, that's all the extra stuff that was in that perished box. That'll just go home probably to storage. These wands are pretty bad. They will need to be re-chromed. This one is not. And that hose, I may or may not keep it because I have the 2. Wow. So anyway, back to the toolkit. The tools were in here. There were some mouse turds, which of course I cleaned up. Yes, I did stage this a bit. We have another carpet tool with, I'm sure, would have been an optional clip-on brush to help with nap cleaning. Then I saw this tool and I went, oh wow, because that's some leftover residue from a sticker that I'm about to show you. And that's their first gleaner. This was a tool that they came out with to help clean rugs. Basically, it helped with lint and hair pickup. And then, of course, the bare floor tool. Now, Chaz F. Electrolux Sales, 307 Briar, B-R-I-E-R. Now, around here, it's B-R-I-A-R now. So we're looking at an incredibly old sticker from this gentleman, Chaz F. And I'm going to show you the other side. Ann Arbor, and then the phone is a 5-digit. So this is very old. But bare floor attachment. Here's, whoa, and let's go and break your super cool vintage vacuum. Very nice crevice tool. But on this one, it said Chaz F. Shade, S-H-A-D-E. Electrolux 306 Briarwood Street. I'm going to have to look that up. Now, I did put a piece of tape over it because it was just crumbling. Ann Arbor phone 31651. That was well before the 1960s, when that was no longer the case. So, upholstery attachment, and then the nicest of the long tubes. So I'm just going to kind of put this back together here. I, again, have seen a lot of vacuums, old ones, both ones that are collected by my friends who are vacuum collectors, and essentially vacuums in different museums and so forth. I don't believe I've ever in my entire time seen one of these that's this complete. I do know of a collector on the West Coast who is a Electrolux. He's very well. He's an Electrolux guru. He knows what he's talking about, Mr. Lester. And I'm sure that when he sees this, he'll be able to help me out about anything I may have missed. But it will get a new cord put on it. I will be doing that. It will run. That is one of the things that I like most about these machines, is that it doesn't take much to do that. So I'm just going to kind of put all of these extra things away. And yeah, so there we are. Vintage Electrolux. I do believe that this was referred to as the Model V or the Model 5. I know that, you know, most companies would do that. They would start out at 0 like Hoover or Model O and go on up through the years. So this was a very early machine. I know that there were some that were sold in Sweden and elsewhere prior to them coming to the United States, but those weren't available. At least I don't believe that they were. I was able to get this all together before, but it looks like it's gonna give me a bit of shit to get back together. But so anyway, there's the box almost back together. It's a box of extra things, and there's that. Like I said, I've been in vacuum cleaners professionally for over 20 years. I've been collecting them for far longer than that, and I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I'm really just thrilled. I do know that Salesman weren't supposed to allow these to get out in the field, but usually they had a rack that went over the machine. Later models did, and the attachments clipped to it. And I have seen units that were set up in that regard, but I certainly have never seen one in its original Salesman's case. So anyway, thank you for watching this. I know it got a bit long, but not every now and then, not every day does, you know, or every now and then does anyone get to see anything like this. So thank you for watching.